Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys a recap on a new episode of JoJo no Kimyou na Bouken Ougon no Kaze, or you can call JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5 Golden Wind, which is on episode 19. Now, this episode right here continues the fight off against Gyatso, or should I say the I Stand user. And we see to it that this was a close fight, honestly. So if anything else, let's get this started. We had to it that Giorno drives into the canal, and apparently it was a bad idea due to freaking Gyatso's I Stand using abilities is able to take a certain advantage over it. But Giorno insists that Mister goes to the surface and freaking can get what they need to get. But apparently Mister refuses because he's not going to abandon Giorno and get the hell out of there. And he therefore decides to ask Giorno to create some grass whatsoever. The grass freezes up and Mister makes a freaking snowboard out of it. But apparently Gyatso ends up undoing the ice temporarily and Mister falls into the water. But eventually, thanks to certain abilities and some other stuff, thanks to Giorno's stand using abilities combined with Mista's, they managed to create some kind of screw and aim for Gyatso's forehead, and he ends up losing consciousness for a while. And while Mista wants to get the disc from the statue, he decides not to do so and decides to wants to kill Gyatso right off the bat because he is already a threat to their group whatsoever. And we see to it, of course, that Mista decides to use the bullets, two of his bullets, to find an air leaking out of a hole, and therefore decides to aim for Gyatso's weak spot right there. But unfortunately, Gyatso, when he regained consciousness, etc., he somehow freezes the air and whatever that's surrounding him in a couple meters away around him, and he's able to be okay, and therefore uses some kind of icicle shield, which is included in many simple parts to cause the bullet to reflect back to Mista. And because of that, Mista ends up being injured in a certain sense. But we see to it, of course, Giorno on the other hand decides to use his arm that was injured before, slam it down to the ground, and ends up blasting the blood at Gyatso. And we see to it that we get a little backstory about Mista. The people he killed, he ends up being accused of not using self-defense and ends up being sent to prison for 15 to 30 years whatsoever. But we also see to it that maybe some time passes by and Bruno breaks him out of prison or bails him out because he believes it's the right of self-defense, etc., And we see to it that eventually Mista does connect with Bruno and the group, and he ends up joining eventually and gains his stand using abilities. And we see to it, of course, eventually that thanks to Giorno's resolve, etc., to use blood on the icicles of what's surrounding Gyatso, we see to it that Mista takes advantage of that and managed to injure, or should I say make Gyatso stumble a bit. And of course the pole he shot recently to try to hit Gyatso ends up making a sharp object, and it hits Gyatso's back neck. And we see to it, of course, that Mista tries to keep shooting at him to make sure he goes in deeper, but Gyatso on the other hand uses the blood that he spurted out to make sure it's frozen right there and managed to save himself. And the fact that Mista tries to use a bunch of bullets and make him push into the spike whatsoever, it deflected right all back at Mista. And of course, the final bullet that Mista shot ends up shooting towards his head, but Giorno saves him in the nick of time. And therefore, Giorno decides to finish the fight off by pushing Gyatso right into the spike and kills him, and they get the disc right after. Gyatso get the disc and wanted to kill Giorno and Mista. And of course, we see to it that Mista compares Giorno to Bruno, seeing how the resolve is really crazy between the two of them, and they are pretty much almost comparable whatsoever. We see to it that Giorno ends up making new parts for Mista's body, but apparently it's kind of troubling for Mista because he's still in major pain, and Giorno's like, yo, can you calm down, dude? Stop whining and fussing. And we see to it that Narancia and Bruno, along with the others, actually took a different route and decides not to go with Giorno and Mista due to maybe some kind of big plan ahead. However, Narancia does see Mr. and Jono. While Jono is actually trying to heal Mr., Narancia believes that they were actually getting it on in freaking public whatsoever. And Narancia's like, I did not see a thing. I did not see a thing. And we see to it, of course, eventually that our buddies, on the other hand, are reunited, but funny stuff. But there's a post-credit scene about the boss talking about something here and there about like seeing how Risotto, his freaking hitman leader of a team that he was in charge of, Ghiaccio and the others, you know, which they're all dead, obviously. We see to it, of course, that they're gonna, if they kill Risotto, that's fine, because there's nothing more he can really do. And therefore, he ends up somehow disappearing, and there's a bunch of roses on the ground. So it might have to involve with some flowers of his stand-using abilities, but that's just a certain hypothesis or theory I'm making up. Don't take it like for a grain of salt. Don't take it seriously. So yeah, simple. If I had to give you like a simple recap of what just happened in this episode, it's just Giorno and Mista continuing to fight against Ghiaccio, or the ice stand user, and they end up eventually defeating him. Well, thanks to Mista and Giorno's resolve helping each other out, they managed to like push him on a metal spike and then kill him off. Yeah, that's about it. Anyways, that's about all, people. I will see you guys in the next video. I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time, right? Peace out. Bye-bye. Toot-toot-toot.